So I've been thinking, how much chance does Wales genuinely have to beat Scotland here, right? We are all talking about the resurgence of Wales and the performance that they put up against Ireland, but what are the actual genuine chances of beating Scotland? Now, I wanted to do a preview on this, but go a little bit more statistical. Been looking at information individually as a team and looking at where things could go, in either team's favor. So before we get cracking, please like and subscribe as it really does help my channel grow. And hopefully this video does earn me a subscription. But let's break it down, right? So we've seen the resurgence of Wales coming up against Ireland with Matt Sherratt. They've just had a couple weeks to together, really, really like trying to solidify, getting things in, having players like Falatal come in, having players like Anscombe, Max Llewellyn have been big, big changes. Plus, also having a player like me, who put in an inspired performance last time out, could potentially, do absolute wonders. But what are their genuine chances of beating Scotland? Now, Scotland, yes, they have had a little bit of a rough time, but when you genuinely think about how good they have been, right? To me, it looks like the chances for Wales to genuinely get anything out of this game are just lower. Yes, Wales are going to really crunch the tackles, and I would love to see a Welsh win. But Scotland have been statistically one of the better teams in the Six Nations, right? We break it down in terms of team wise in for Scotland, right? So right now they are currently fourth in terms of points with 64. Wales are sixth with 33. They are joint second. So Scotland are joint second in terms of tries with 10, whereas Wales are sixth again with 4. They don't exactly have a very good goal kicking percentage with a very, very low percentage. I think it's around 50. Whereas Wales actually have a better kicking ratio, which is at 66.67. Now, that does go to show just how much of a brilliant time Finn Russell has had. He has had a torrid time when it's come to kicking of late, but there are a lot more other things other than kicking. We move into meters carried, right? So it shows how strong Scotland are when having that ball. They currently sit second with 262 meters, whereas Wales, on the other hand, they sit third with 2,107. We then look at meters gained, right? Again, showing just how strong these teams are in terms of carrying the ball and how well they're doing it. Scotland are sitting second with 1,379, whereas Wales are sitting fourth at 1,003. Total passes, Scotland are first with 631, whereas guess what? Wales are second with 614, right? It's not showing too much in relation to Wales now, is it? The way Wales have been playing with Gatland, you would have thought they would have been very, very low on pretty much every single one of these lists. But no, they are actually doing relatively okay. Yes, they are sitting bottom of everyone. But you look at certain aspects of the game, they're actually doing pretty well. Um, Now, this is a very key one that's gonna affect this game. Is most tackles made, right? Scotland currently sit first with 88.92% of successful tackles, whereas Wales, they sit second with 88.02. So again, this is showing just how strong they are in the tackles. This shows just how good Wales forwards and Wales work in terms of tackling teams. And that's not an easy thing, because then you think of the quality of the likes of Ireland, France. Statistically, in terms of tackles made, Wales is better than everyone other than Scotland. We look at the attacking ruck arrivals. Scotland is again first with 874, whereas guess what? Wales are second with 765. So now we start looking into that kind of intensity, that pressure that's being put on these teams. Lineouts one, right? Again, that physical presence, that strength in the air. Guess who's first? Scotland once again with 48, whereas Wales are now second. Well, they joint second with Ireland with 42 points. So, yes, Wales is not exactly the best when it comes to tries and scoring points, but you look at their interplay, their actual gameplay. Both of these teams are brilliant, brilliant runners of the ball. Their ability to just absolutely smash, make ridiculous gains whilst with the ball in hand is brilliant. I believe Wales still do have the highest percentage of scrums won, and you look at Scotland with lineouts won. You look at Wales in terms of lineouts won. They're very physical. They got brilliant presence in the air. They got brilliant presence in the scrums, and it's kind of crazy to think both of these teams are seen as kind of like the outcasts. They especially with Scotland's last game, and especially with France, it's 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 kind of come like Scotland are horrible, like Scotland are shit. No, they aren't. Yes, they've had some horrible times, and you know their their composure is abysmal at times. But you break it down, and you see just how brilliant they are in certain aspects of the game, right? So you look at the ability for both teams to run with the ball in terms of their physicality, with the scrums, with the lineouts. You look, okay, this game is not going to be a kicking game. There is no way that this game is going to be a kicking game. It is going to be balls to the wall, attacking, fighting for possession, just demanding presences and really, really, heavy work at the breakdown. And this is what we're going to see. Rucks, we're going to see clean outs, we're going to see everything, that just make for a brilliant, brilliant game of rugby. And I can definitely see this becoming one of the best games of of the weekend, even considering we do have a match like Ireland versus France just before this. So there is some serious, serious talent here. And we then look at it and we break it down individually in terms of the top five best, you know, the top five best players among every team, right? We look at the top five and we then compare where they sit and how many of these players are genuinely in the top five. Now, I will tell you, Scotland have a lot more than Wales, but don't don't think that teams like Ireland and France are just going to kill everything, because they're not. Because there's a lot of areas of the game which Scotland really, really excel. Right? We look individually in terms of the top five. I'm talking top five best in any category. Right? So in terms of Scotland and Wales, tries, you have Hugh Jones on four, Ben White on three. Penalty kicks, we have Blair on two. We have carries, we got Blair again on 58. Jack Morgan, first time Wales are in this list of the top five best player in a particular category. In terms of carries, Jack Morgan at 58. Meters carried, you have Blair, which I believe he's currently leading the charts with 500.3 meters. Duhan van der Merwe, I believe he's second with 318.2. And then we see meters gained. Ooh, okay. Now things are happening with what they are doing. Blair with 365.5, Duhan van der Merwe with 193.9. Total passes, we got Ben White with 256, Thomas Williams, hey, with 244. Offloads, gets interesting. Again, Blair with 8, Johnny Gray with 6, Rory Dodge with 5, right? Line breaks. Line breaks. Again, out of the top 5, Scotland got 2. Duhan van der Merwe and Blair, again, recurring theme, both on 5. How many kicks were made in play? Ben White with 34, Thomas Williams with 41. You look at tackles made, completed. Jack Morgan, 48. I believe he tops the charts here. Breakdown steals. It's Richie with 4. I mean, you look at the performance that he put in his last game. He practically earned himself a spot immediately on that British and Irish Lions tour. The guy was resilient. He was an absolute machine. He was here, there, and everywhere. He was just a monster that was unleashed, and he was impossible to deal with. So it's going to be interesting to see how things break down over here. We look at attacking ruck arrivals, right? So just how much pressure the Scotland team are putting on other teams when it comes down to the rucks, because you see that they coming in thick and fast. And guess what? Out of the top 5, Scotland have 3. Rory Dodge with 112, Xander Fagerson with 93, and Grant Gilchrist with 76. Tell me that out of the top 5 players individually in certain positions, you're finding Scotland a lot here. Individually, Scotland are absolutely fantastic. It's just unfortunate sometimes Scotland aren't exactly the best when working together and happen to lose composure at key moments. We look at defensive ruck arrivals, you know, really putting on that pressure as a defender. Jack Morgan is there with 36. Cleanouts, right? Now, this is going to become a big part of this game between Scotland and Wales in terms of cleanouts. Who's going to be fighting uh, for that ball, making space, right? Just come rampaging in to clear space, you know, uh, away from, make space away from that ball. Out of the top 5, we have Rory Dodge. Guess what? With 27. Again, another Scottish player. But this is where things get interesting because Wales have 3 in this category. You have David Jenkins with 29. You have Gareth Thomas with 21, and then you have Rowlands with 21 as well. So you look at the intensity that they coming in at the breakdown to just clear space, to make as much space as possible, to really be smashing in, not giving other teams that chance. So looking at how these teams really, really break down, Scotland are fantastic and they have such ridiculous individual players like the likes of Blair Kinghorn, the likes of Duhan van der Merwe, the likes of Rory Dodge. It's just, unfortunately, I do feel Finn Russell, he really is his own worst nightmare. And we look at the goal kicking percentages. Scotland should not be this low, sitting in 6th out of the entire 6 nations. Yeah, there's only 6 teams and they are last. This is showing what kind of 6 nations Finn Russell is having. Now tell me, as your fly half, person, as a person who should be brilliant when it comes down to his kicking, your team is last. What kind of performance is that showing? What kind of signal is that showing to Andy Farrell when you have the likes of Finn Smith, Marcus Smith, Sam Prendergast all outplaying you? Now, yes, kicking isn't everything. The actual general interplay matters for a lot, but we've seen nothing but mistakes from Finn Russell. He's losing his composure. His kicking isn't on point. He's unable to convert a vast majority of things. They literally lost a game. Now, I say they lost a game because of him not being able to convert. And ultimately, he had converted, much harder penalties. Much harder conversions. But if he had scored, if he had converted, it would have been a completely different game, right? And where does this stand? So Scotland individually are bloody fantastic. I mean, Scotland as a team are fantastic. You look at a lot of these, they are brilliant, and a lot of them they're sitting second, third, but they continuously fail to to genuinely see out a game. And I pull this down to composure through the back end of the games, right? Unnecessary mistakes, unnecessary errors, giving away unnecessary tries. Again, I keep bringing it back to the same Finn Russell passing the ball to Brex. What is happening here, right? So ultimately, in terms of my prediction, I have Scotland to ultimately win this game. I don't think it's going to be by much. And this is the reason why I say it's going to be such an interesting game, because we are going to see back to back, just hard hits. Both teams are elite when it comes to carrying the ball. Both teams are elite when it comes to gaining meters through carrying the ball. Both teams are brilliant in terms of lineouts and scrums. So we are going to see serious, serious competition between both of these teams. We're going to see serious competition at the breakdown. A lot of pressure, battling for possession, right? And then when you look at the cleanouts, yes, you have three players from Wales. You've got a player like Darge, who's just an absolute monster. So when you have two teams like this that are literally just throwing each other at themselves, well, throwing themselves at each other, what kind of game are we going to get here? What kind of game do we have in our hands? A bloody spectacular one. It's not going to be a boring, oh, I'll kick to you, you'll kick to me, I'll kick to you, you'll kick to me. We are going to be seeing Falatau. We are going to be seeing Jack Morgan. We are going to be seeing um, Van der Merwe. We are going to be seeing just ridiculous. You are going to see Xander Fagerson just destroy people. You are going to see Skuman just rampaging through. This is the kind of game that you're going to want to watch. This is the kind of game that you want in terms of a Six Nations. Both teams, elite carriers. Yes, they don't exactly have the best kicking game, but that just makes for such a better game, because you know that these teams are not going to be kicking for possession. They're going to be running with that ball in hand and just trying to smash and break and gain yards. But let me know what you guys think. I'm going through what statistics I found and what I can see. Um, Let me know what you guys think of this. All right. Do you think Wales can win? Yes, there's every possibility they can. I'd love to see a Welsh win. But in terms of individual and as a team, I feel Scotland will have just a little bit too much for Wales in this moment. But it's not to say Wales are not making ridiculous performances. They are not making ridiculous leaps. And if Matt Sherratt is able to bring that up, because you got to think Matt Sherratt is an attacking coach by trade. So maybe he might have a couple of things up his sleeve that will set Scotland off. But if Wales, and this is the thing with Wales, I find if Wales are able to get under the skin of Scotland, they can take this game away. If they are able to break Finn Ross's composure, which of late is not that hard to do, if they are able to nullify the likes of Rory Darge, if they are able to shut off the supply chains of Ben White, we could see a very, very good game from Wales. But they are going to need to play with that intensity that they started the first half with up against Ireland for the entire 80 minutes, which is not easy. It is not easy at all. But when you do have the likes of a player like Aaron Wainwright, that's able to come on as as an impact player, that's always a nice thing to have. So let me know what your thoughts in the comment section below. I want to hear what you guys think in relation to this. This is a little bit of a longer video for me, but I wanted to kind of break down statistically these players. So let me know what you guys think. I'll catch you guys in the next one, and I can't wait for this bloody Six Nations. Bye.